Oh my god, the second part of the rant about the controversy surrounding homosexuals. This one's gonna cause some problems. Now, while I have a lot of issues with people who say that homosexuals don't have the same rights that straight people do, I do have an issue with a certain group of homosexuals. This is not to say that all homosexuals are like this. Just like in my last rant, I wasn't saying that all straight people or all religious people were like those that I was talking about. Now, I'm going to call this group of homosexuals heterophobes. That's not really what they are, and that word, I think, is really stupid. But it's just a word that I'm going to use to describe them. And by the end of this rant, you'll hopefully understand who I'm talking about. Because there's a certain type of homosexual that really pisses me off, and it's the hypocritical ones, the ones that make no frickin' sense. Okay, there's a couple of issues to talk about. Let's clarify a few things once again, that we're all clear. One, I think homosexuals deserve and should get all the rights that straight people have in the world. I think they have the right to get the same benefits that married couples get in the event that they decide to tie the knot. But I don't think that homosexuals deserve more rights than us. Because there are a lot of homosexuals who try to push it. Quite a bit, in fact. There is a line that has to be drawn at some point in time. For starters, there's a lot of issue with public display of affection in the homosexual community. Now, I'm not saying you can't hug each other. I'm not saying you can't even kiss each other in public, because I think you should be allowed to do that, because straight people do it all the time. But straight people don't make out in public, or at least not ones that are polite in any discernible way. That type of affection is usually reserved for private quarters. It's not really polite for even a straight couple to completely make out in public, let alone do anything beyond that. There was a situation that I heard from a friend about, that I've actually heard about this situation more than once. As she explained it, she was at a party, and there were two gay guys there, and they were sitting next to her. They were basically making out, but they weren't just making out, they were also dry humping, which to her came off as a little bit awkward, so she asked them to stop. Please. And you know what they said? They called her a homophobe. So, being the intelligent woman that she is, she responded to them, so, if my boyfriend were here, and we were making out next to you, what would you think? And they said, well, that would be disgusting. Then she explained to them how hypocritical that was, and they shut up. It's that kind of hypocrisy that really makes me angry, because it's completely blatant. It's not like it's a minor thing. This is what we call a two-way street. As I said, you don't deserve more rights than us. Just because you think it's homophobic to say, oh, we don't want to see you sucking face all the time in public, that's not homophobic. That's called common decency. There's a difference. And again, I'll reiterate, not even polite straight people make out or let alone dry hump in a public place. And there is another thing this particular group does that really pisses me off. They try to make straight people gay. That kind of makes me angry. Allow me to explain. So, you think that some straight guy or girl, it doesn't really matter what gender, is gay secretly. You think so. You know so. So you go up to them and say, you know what? I think you're gay. I think that you are gay to the bone. And I think you should just come out of the closet. And if they don't get completely angry at you for insinuating such a thing, they are going to politely explain to you that they are not gay. They don't think they're gay, and they have no attraction to their own gender. Now, common logic would tell an intelligent person that if someone says they're not gay in a calm, concise, and reasonable manner, that they're probably not gay. But a lot of you seem to make a habit out of trying to get straight people to turn gay. But if I went up to one of those homosexuals and said, you know what? I think you're straight. In fact, I know you're straight, alright? I think you just come back to the straight side, come back to this side of the fence and stop, you know, doing this, stop being gay, because I know you're straight. You'd probably get pretty pissed off, wouldn't you? Because you have already made the choice that you want to be gay. You're happy being a homosexual, and that's fine. But if you're going to be happy being a homosexual and demand respect for that personal choice you made, then I think you should give out the same respect to a straight person who doesn't swing your direction. Now that I have said that, there is one more thing I have to clear up. And this is the part that I know is going to cause a lot of controversy. A lot of what the really hardcore homosexuals, the ones I'm talking about in this rant, do is try to say that, oh, there is nothing wrong with being gay, and we should be allowed to get married. The thing you have to understand is that the original definition of marriage, the reason it was created as a religious institution. That being said, the definition of marriage, at least according to the people who created it, say that it's supposed to be between a man and a woman. I'm not saying you don't deserve the same rights. I'm not saying, because I completely believe in the whole domestic partnership thing. That is a brilliant thing. I love that. I like a lot of states are doing that. Because I think you deserve the same exact benefits that married couples get. Well, like I said, I agree with the whole domestic partnership thing. Because that is a very, very common and very, very brilliant political tactic called walking the line. Because if you don't call it marriage, you call it something else, but you're still giving the same rights and benefits that a married couple would get. Technically, you are no longer breaking the sanctity of marriage, thus making the people who want to protect that word happy, but you are also giving the people who want to be married, the homosexuals, the same benefits, so everyone should be happy. But a lot of you aren't happy yet. You're still acting as if, oh, well they should call it a marriage, because that's what we consider it to be. It's just a word, in the end. It's just a name. It's just a human, thought-up name for something. And if you want to call it a marriage, then by all means, go right ahead. But you're still getting all the same benefits with a domestic partnership, which it might as well be called a marriage at this point. So, what are you complaining about? It seems to me all you're complaining about is that, oh, they aren't calling it what you want to call it, which I think is just nitpicking at this point. Yes, not all U.S. states have ratified the whole domestic partnership. They have not approved it, but slowly but surely states are approving it. You should be happy about that. I don't think you should be complaining anymore about that. I mean, yeah, there are still homophobes in the world, but there are always going to be homophobes in the world. Get used to it. Just like there are still racists in the world, just like there are still anti-Semites in the world, there are always going to be homophobes. And a lot of the straight community now supports and understands homosexuals to a certain degree. I don't have anything against homosexuals at all. And I think you deserve the same rights as we get. I just get a little bit annoyed when you get basically what you want and you're still complaining about it. That just comes off as I said before, you wanting more rights than us, than straight people. No, you get the same. The same. You don't get more. There's one last thing that I really need to address, really quickly. It always makes me angry when I hear somebody say, there is nothing wrong with being gay. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there definitely is. I do not believe there is anything morally wrong with being gay. I do not even think there is anything mentally or intellectually wrong with being gay. But there is something naturally wrong with being gay. It's not normal. Okay? And because it is abnormal, that means there is at least one thing wrong with it. I arrive at this conclusion because species on this planet, at least the vast majority of them, reproduce in two ways. Asexually, that is, by themselves, with using only one organism, or sexually, that is, mating with the opposite sex. There has never been a documented case, to my knowledge, of two males or two females creating a child without the aid of some sort of scientific intervention or something like that. So, it isn't normal to be gay. It isn't. It's abnormal. And a lot of homosexuals keep trying to say that, oh, it is completely normal. It seems to be that you're trying to make it at this point to sound like that homosexuality is a normal thing. It's not. It never has been, and it probably never will be. Because human instinct, for the most part, and for most people, is that we are attracted to the opposite sex. The reason why homosexuals have been rejected by society before is because it's not normal. And I think it's a little bit annoying when you're trying to go around preaching how normal it is when it just isn't. That's a lie. I'm not saying that you can't be gay. You can be, because that's your choice. That's a choice you're allowed to make. But I am saying don't call something normal when it definitely isn't. Stop being jerks. There's a pretty notable chunk of the homosexual population that act like jerks all the time. I think part of the reason why a lot of people don't want to accept you guys into society is because you're acting like jerks. And why don't you try talking to people who disagree with you? Just talk and listen to what they're saying. A lot of people in this world don't ever listen. They just talk and talk and talk and talk. I don't rant without listening. Because honestly, I think the vast majority of the world's problems, the world's issues, the vast majority of a lot of stuff that's happened in this world, and one of the issues right now with the whole controversy surrounding homosexuals, is that people don't listen. They just talk. Stay sane, everybody.